explain or express how we feel. Now, as a contractor, I am privileged and blessed to be a part of your team, and I will ensure that we will not let you down. We're going to do the job in a way that after we had completed everything, your name should be everlasting Paul in the minds of the Paul in the minds of the Grenadian people. Keep doing an excellent job for the people. Your blessings is coming soon. All right. So again, young man, young brother, the brother of the soil, just keep doing a great job. You're just an amazing son of the soil. All right. Thank you again. Thank you for everything that you're doing for us, for our families, and God bless you.
Welcome to the Dynamic Hour. Again, we have a unique opportunity to converse, to talk using radio and social media to connect. I want to encourage those on Facebook and YouTube to please share the live. Sharing is caring. When you share the live, you give your friends, your colleagues who are a part of your platform, your page, the opportunity to view, to be in the audience, to follow what we are doing here in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique, what the government is doing here in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. So please take that time to share the live. I want to start off with two very positive news items because it seems as though a lot of people love negativity. But when it comes to the good news, positive news, they would not be quick to share it or to discuss it, that kind of stuff. But on this platform, we try our best to share, to get people to know about the positive things that are happening in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique.
Hospital on Carriacou is now fully operational and ready to provide essential health services to residents 3 months after sustaining significant damage from Hurricane Beryl in July. The hurricane left the island's healthcare sector in disarray, but the hospital has now been restored and was officially reopened over the weekend. According to Deanna Isaac, Public Relations Officer for the Ministry of Carriacou and PT Martinique Affairs, the opening ceremony was attended by government officials and members of the health sector.
We want to let the public know that hospital services have officially resumed at the Princess Royal Hospital. We know during the passage of Hurricane Beryl that Princess Royal Hospital lost its roof, so hospital services was relocated to the Hillsborough Smart Health Center, but now everything is back up at the Princess Royal Hospital. The clinic can now function as a district clinic, so persons can utilize now the Princess Royal Hospital for hospital services.
Isaac said while the hospital is back in service, 4 other health clinics on the island are still undergoing refurbishment.
Our 4 clinics did suffer damages, so the Ministry of Health is working steadfastly to ensure that reconstruction work start on the 4 clinics, 3 in Carriacou and 1 in PT Martinique. Minister of Health, Honorable Philip Tellisford, was in Carriacou on Saturday with his team for the resumption of hospital services. The hospital bypass road, I'm happy to report from the Ministry of Carriacou and PT Martinique Affairs that that road is now completed. So persons now have another access to the Princess Royal Hospital to and from. We are continuing to work on the 16 Corners Road. That was compromised during the passage of Hurricane Beryl. We're building a new retaining wall, and we're also widening that road.
Right. So thank you, Rena P. Thomas there from GBN. That's a nice piece. You will not hear the NNP talking about this. No. They love to talk about the negative stuff. They love to push a lot of misinformation. That's the NNP. They're pundits, they're surrogates. That's how they function. They don't want you to know that the Princess Royal Smart Hospital is back up and running. Remember, Hurricane Beryl damaged, devastated that building. They're now back up and running after a couple months. You have developed nations who, after being affected by a hurricane, it will take them years to get back to that place. But the Hillsborough, they were using the Hillsborough Smart Medical Station or Clinic. Now they're back to Princess Royal Hospital. And the bypass road, remember they were walking on this bypass road to get to the hospital? That has been completed. It is now completed, and you can pass on it, you can use it, and they're widening another road, a very important road, and fixing it, putting retaining walls and so on. So a lot of work is happening, being done in Carriacou and the PT Martinique. But the NNP, they want you to believe that things are bad. They want you to believe that nothing is happening there, nothing is moving and so on. That's what they want you to believe. But thank God for technology. Thank God for visual aid, videos and so on. Not just audio. Before it was just audio and you're hearing, but now you can hear and also see the good things that are happening in Carriacou and PT Martinique. So kudos again to the Honorable Philip Telesford, Minister of Health, and the Honorable Tevin Andrews, boots on the ground. Another good news I want to share with you.
Farmers received day-old broiler chicks and feed as part of the Livestock and Poultry Support Component as the Ministry of Agriculture accelerates the implementation of the Food Security Enhancement Project. On Monday, the ministry distributed 8,750 chicks and 1,864 bags of feed to 29 farmers during a brief ceremony, with some farmers receiving up to 500 chicks to support their livelihoods. This was the second distribution event. The first took place nearly 3 weeks ago in St. Andrew, where 21 farmers also received chicks and feed. Minister for Agriculture, Honorable Lennox Andrew, said this initiative aims to strengthen the poultry sector to prevent market shortages.
In fact, our intention is to build a very strong domestic national poultry industry. We are working on that. And we hope the time will come when we would not be having to import any poultry meat into this country. That's what we're working to achieve. So this is just the start of a big thing, or of big things to come.
Permanent Secretary Isaac Bagwan urged proper care for the birds to ensure the successful implementation of this component of the Food Security Enhancement Project. He also mentioned training sessions designed to support farmers in this effort.
So I want to encourage you to take care of the birds, and of course it is being given to you free of cost. There is no other conditions placed on you except that, of course, you apply your labor towards taking care of the birds and bringing it up to the market, and of course selling it so that it could enhance your income level. So I want to encourage you to do your best in this regard. Earlier this year we would have had, through the Livestock Division, we would have provided some training to poultry farmers. We also would do another batch of training before the year is expired, so that again persons would have the knowledge and the understanding as to how to take care of the birds that they would have received.
Farmers Chad Noel and Carlos Peters, who were beneficiaries of the project, expressed their gratitude to the ministry.
I think it will be amazing, because we will have a little extra chickens for the Christmas holidays, Most times around Christmas, chickens are pretty scarce. You can't go to the supermarket and find chickens, and you can't go to the shops and find fresh local chickens. And You know, a lot of people don't like turkey. They want to get a nice, big, fat, rosy chicken, you know, and to have the little booster, the little extra assistance would allow us as farmers to do even more.
The initiative, I must applaud. I think it was a great one that each and every one of us would benefit from. Not just our personal benefit, but our communities, because we'll be able to present a bring forth chicken of good standard and good quality. So with this initiative, you also further propel me in terms of starting my own business, which is, I think, is more important than anything else. Being independent, having an income, and actually really caring for farming as the way it should be.
The Food Security Enhancement Project aims to tackle key vulnerabilities and risks related to food insecurity. With a budget of $10 million, the project's objectives include improving food and nutrition security in Grenada by increasing crop production, enhancing the shortage and processing of agricultural products, boosting livestock, poultry, and fish production.
Yes, thank you very much there. Again, a piece from GBN. Give them all the credit. It's a very good piece. I want to say Grenada is on the up, the up, the up. A while ago, Anne-Marie Stewart post this comment. What more do our people want from the government? Well, what I can tell you, you have to understand the Grenadian people. Once you're giving, once you're helping people, they would expect more and more and more. And the opposition, they, on the other hand, will be out there telling the people that nothing is happening. That is how the NNP operates. So, Anne-Marie, you're absolutely right with this question, asking this question. What more do these people want from the government? The government assisted and paid the pensioners who were marching in the sun for their pension that the NNP refused to pay them, to give them. They got $75.1 million. That payout impacted positively 500 and something families. It's not just individual, but families. You see, not just the individual, not just the pensioner, but the entire family. $75.1 million. You had teachers who were marching and protesting. They had work to rule for the money that the NNP docked from their salaries. The NNP went into their salaries around November, December as a government, and they took their money because they went out there and demonstrate and protest for their gratuity and their pension and so on, and their 4%. The NDC came in power and they gave them $1.2 million back. That same money they gave them back. When the NNP was saying, you're in work, you're not supposed to be paid. Because these teachers and public officers were out there protesting. The NDC paid them. The NDC came into power. They realized there was money there for small and medium-sized businesses to help them post-COVID-19. The NNP did not help these people. They did not spend that money to help the small and medium-sized businesses. The NDC did not give them as a loan. The NDC say, hey, we are giving you as a grant up to $30,000 to help those businesses bounce back. Remember, 500 and something businesses again benefited from this grant aid from government. So, Anne-Marie Stewart, you're absolutely correct. You are correct. Look at the amount of money pumped into agriculture. Look at the amount of money. Just think about it. 19 point something million dollars, then another $10 million. then another 3 point something million, then another 7 point something million. Women in agriculture, youth in agriculture, poultry farmers, livestock farmers, fishers. They're getting the assistance that they need. Then you look at in the housing area, look at the amount of houses that they are building for our people. You have to build back better houses, right? They are building those houses for our Grenadian brothers and sisters. They build back better houses. They're building those houses just like that. Exactly like that. With modern bathroom and the toilet facility, right? And then you have the electrical work being done, the plumbing work being done, and they painting that house for that family. Then you have the housing repair program where they're providing materials for people to repair their homes. And then you have them building other houses. You have the Project 500 where they're building houses so that people can actually purchase houses at a very reduced cost. The government is at work. They're at work helping our people. Look at the free tuition for the young people. $810. The parent or parents, they don't have to find that money. The government is paying it for them. Look at the amount of scholarships the government gave in recent times. Just look and you would see. You don't need to be any genius here. All the social safety net programs are up and running. The SEED program, that's the Poor Relief Assistance program. People are getting more money. Those 65 years and older, they're getting $500 now. From $300 to $500. And some may say, well, the NNP made it $450. Well, that was temporary. They did not budget for that. But I'm saying it is now $500. People with mental and physical disabilities or mentally challenged folks, they're actually getting the $500. The Imani trainees, they used to get $700 and $800 and so dollars. They're now getting $1,200. The minimum wage order caused a lot of people in the country to be getting more money every month. The security officers, they used to get $4 under the NNP. They're now getting $9.25 per hour. Per hour. Security work is now, not looked down at anymore. It is now respected. Every and anybody wants to do security work now. Then you have the cleaners, the office attendants and so on, the clerks, right? The folks who work in the Indian and Syrian stores, those who do housekeeping and other things like that, landscaping, and those in the bakery, and right? The minimum wage order help these people, those who take care of elderly folks in the homes and other places like that. They've adjusted their salaries. So they're getting more. You see, people tend to forget things quickly, because so many good things are happening, you forget it. It's like a relationship. You have somebody in a relationship, you're treating them good, and because you're doing it so often, it becomes like normal, and they don't appreciate it anymore. They don't see it as a biggie, right? But if you have a space between it, so like you take that person out for lunch or dinner once a month and not every week, right? So they appreciate it more. Or every 6 months, you bring them something new, some kind of present or some kind of gift, and they appreciate that more. But when you're doing it every time, they tend to, devalue it or see it as less important. And that is what you're seeing. The NDC administration, they have done so many things, so many good things in recent times. So many good things, man. The debushing program that continues. You have thousands of people out there working. Thousands of people. The new Imani training program that continues. The Empower program. Look at the amount of young men who are in the Empower program. Come on. I think it's 400 and something of them receiving training, and also getting the assistance to start their own little business. Young men in agriculture or youth in agriculture, young people getting the opportunity to train in agriculture and to be supported to start their own thing. So a lot is happening. You hear people now asking for laborers, asking for plumbers, asking for electricians, asking for carpenters, masons, and so on. They can't find them. They're at work. Things are happening in the country. But of course, the NNP will be out there telling you nothing is happening. That is what they're accustomed to. They always on that wavelength. They want you to believe nothing is happening here. And everywhere around the world, cost of living is a problem. Everywhere around the world, not only in Grenada or in St. Lucia or in Dominica, everywhere around the world. And it is a reality. You have wars in the Middle East. You have wars taking place in other parts, in Africa, between Ukraine and Russia. And remember, they too produce things. And then you have the whole issue with transshipment and shipment and all this kind of stuff. It's not easy. We do not produce these things here, and government is not taxing many of these things, No. So there's nothing extra that government could do. We don't produce these things here. The stuff that we produce here, then we can see some adjustments made. But the majority of things come from overseas. And every time it comes, the price goes up. The price goes up. And it's not because government here decide to do X or Y. No. Nope. So I am saying again, the government is trying its best to help our people. The government is trying. But when you treat people too nice, too quickly, you know what normally happens to you. So you have to pace it. You have to be gradual. Because it's as though people are accustomed. No, they become accustomed to government doing this and doing that and doing everything. These days, they call in the government to do everything. They want everything to fix now. Fix all the roads, fix all the schools, fix all the police stations, increase everybody's salary, make everybody permanent, give everybody a pension, give everybody a proper home, give everybody a proper bathroom and toilet facility, get rid of all the pit latrines. No. Yeah, that is how people are acting and operating. It scares me because they believe that the government is printing some money. They believe that we have major exports and we get in foreign revenue and we are some big developed nation. That is the impression they're given. They want the government to do everything. In fact, you have pundits supporting the NNP who will call the Plead Your Cause program and spread lies. For example, this morning, Panames called that program lying about the school feeding program. But the person in the Ministry of Education explained this whole thing already for us. Yes.
Education has ensured that the shortages experienced by some schools in the delivery of the school feeding program at the start of the Michaelmas school term are resolved. The school feeding program feeds up to 13,000 students daily in 106 primary and secondary schools across the nation. The program, which was previously $1 per meal, is now free for any student who wants to participate as per government policy. Director of Student Support Services, Pearson Stroud, provides clarity and updates on the current status of the school feeding program.
We must admit, first of all, that it's unfortunate that we had the situation where we had our children not being fed in some. I want to reiterate only some of our schools. I want to, first of all, thank all of the school leaders who made it their their duty, who really put out to make sure that they did whatever they could to make sure that they sustained the school feeding programs within the schools and within the majority of our schools in our nation. And we thank you for that. At the beginning of the school year, this calendar, not the calendar year, but of the school year, September, unfortunately, during the second or so week, we lost the head of school feeding. A week or so after, we also lost the food aid coordinator, the person who is responsible to sick leave, and up to this point, the present time, that person has not yet returned to work. So it's combined with that, we've had some serious issues in terms of shortfall in availability of dry goods, as well as the parts of meat that the schools would normally use. We've had things like turkey and so that was available, but the schools had complained over the last few years that because of the bone and so in turkey, especially for the very small children, we could not afford to send that because it could be a health hazard for the children. And so we were caught in that unfortunate circumstances, something like a perfect storm. Many things happening at the same time that really put us back about a week or so in terms of sending out orders and, of course, getting our suppliers to be able to mobilize. With that, some of our suppliers, this is the beginning of their business year, and a few of them had stock taking. And so combined with all of those, we were unfortunately put in a position where we could not deliver as we are accustomed to do. Over the years, we were accustomed to doing, to be able to deliver food, dry goods, meat, and our vouchers, unfortunately, as well. The person who is responsible for that, the person on sick leave in terms of getting those things, those documents in order. And so that was also a shortfall. We banded together as a unit, as a department, even as a unit, because other persons who were not even a part of the school feeding department, which is a part of student support, banded up together to see how we could make sure that we, as of Monday of this week, that would have made it, the 9th or 8th or so, checks are now in the revenue offices. A circular was sent out from the office of the CEO indicating to school leaders that the checks are in the revenue offices for the vouchers. So we are in a place where the checks are out, dry goods are gone to schools, meat is in schools, and food is being cooked in all of our schools. I want to reiterate the fact that this is a one-off situation that unfortunately happened at a really bad time for us. The school feeding program has always been, we have not been perfect in no circumstances, but food has always been cooked in schools. There are 1 or 2 times when, because maybe our providers were not able to, we didn't get the little bits and pieces to schools on time. But we will continue to make sure that we deliver the food on time, which is in the amounts that are required for our schools to function. It is important for us to also know that the numbers we receive from some of our schools, and again, that's one of the issues that we have, the numbers we received from some of our schools in July when we were feeding, and based on those numbers of school feeding numbers that the schools was sent to us, that is basically what we used to base our orders on. We would have used the order from July when school closed to do the September order. I think in that sense, we would have had a shortfall in the sense that schools are now reporting to us, unfortunately, reporting to us now of the increase since July into September of persons who are patronizing the program. And of course, the nation would know that government has indicated that everybody who needs and wants to eat can eat. So there's no purchasing of food and so anymore. Now we have the present feeding numbers, and of course, we will do our best to make sure that as we implement, we would adhere to making sure that those numbers are taken care of. The Student Support Services Unit is committed to making sure that the children who depend on the school feeding program get fed every single day. We have a very small staff. We have only 4 officers to monitor those 106 schools. We are doing our best to make sure everybody came on board. And I want to express my gratitude as the Director of Student Support. Though I'm not directly the manager of school feeding, of course, as it was my responsibility ultimately to make sure that everything is done. I want to thank the staff of the school feeding department, those young people who are working so hard in monitoring the meals and cooking, making sure that food is cooked in a nutritious way. making sure that they came together to make sure that the orders went out when we were down and out. I want to thank them for making sure that they really put up and put out to make sure that as of last week, middle of last week, all schools had their dry goods. All schools had their meat at some point based on the availability in terms of the meat and the providers. Unfortunately, we were waiting for wings, and so because they didn't have it, they just didn't have it, and it's a preferred meat is an easier thing to cook for the children. The children consume it better. You don't want to send meat in a school that's going to harm children. You don't want to send meat that is tough for the cooks to prepare and will take the children will just waste it. So while we have to balance making sure we get food there, you don't want to send food that's going to be wasted. There's still government resources, still the taxpayers' money that we have to be careful to protect and make sure that it's used in the best way.
Rod also gave some insight into the cost of running the school feeding program.
Per annum, as it is now in terms of what is budgeted for the school feeding program, we have $3 million that is budgeted or given to the program for its running. Now that $3 million has to pay for the vouchers that has to go out to the schools. It has to pay for the dry goods. It has to pay for the meat, fish and chicken, and it also has to pay the salaries of the persons in the department. You would understand if you based on the numbers that you've just heard, you would understand that even that is something of an issue that needs to be addressed as well.
The Student Support Services Director also gave insight into how the school feeding program collaborates with farmers and other stakeholders, and some advice to farmers who wants to get involved.
Right. So again, that has been resolved, but you still have those NNP surrogates and pundits out there giving people this false idea, because you can call the Plead Your Cause program on WeFM without any accountability. You can call and slander people. You can call and say things, and no one will correct you. No one will ask you any question. You can call and spread a rumor. You can, gossip on the Plead Your Cause program on WeFM. It's easy. You call, you just say what you want to say, and nobody would, butt in and say, hey, this program has been resolved. How you could say that? Are you in the school feeding program? Right? And not only that, why you are not doing something to help? Because maybe your grandkids or your children still going to some school. Why you're not mobilizing the farmers and the fishers in the area who have plenty to give to the schools so that they can augment or help, the schools to be able to feed the kids? Because, it's easy to talk. These NNP surrogates and pundits, they could talk and yap. But when it comes to actual doing, the action, getting stuff done, they can't. That is what they're good at. I am saying it's not a perfect system. You're talking about feeding 13,000 people every day. 13,000 students, just a little above 13,000 students every day. This government is doing a marvelous job. Remember, these students, they were actually paying for lunch every day. They were paying $1 or $3 for the secondary schools. And yes, we agree with the free meals being offered in the schools. You have new students who would be a part of that program now, because there were students and their parents who just couldn't afford. All right? So because it's free, then you have more. But still, you have 13,000 plus students benefiting from this school feeding program, getting a hot meal for free. You have free textbook given to kids or students, free textbooks, the free textbook program. You have the back to school uniform supplies and uniform and school supplies program, or the back to school voucher program, where parents are getting assistance to buy the uniform and school supplies and so on. Then you have the free tuition at the tertiary level. Then you have the universal education. where all the students who sit the CPEA, they're going on to a secondary school. All right, they transitioning to a secondary school. Come on, under the NNP time, you did not pass by 1 mark or 2. You stay back in primary school, and you may exit primary school, not even getting a secondary school education. There are some students, they are slow in primary school. By the time they get into secondary school, a good teacher, they start picking up, right? And they become something. I am saying this government has done a lot in the last 2 years and a half. A lot for our people. And we have to acknowledge that. The NNP, they will be out there still saying nothing is being done. Because all they want is their government to be in power, their party to be in power, to form the government, so they would benefit more. Because you know how the NNP was governing. They were looking for their people, and giving their people X and giving their people Y. That's how they operate. So they want that. They miss that. They miss that. There are some NNP supporters and frontline people. Man, they used to live good. They had everything. They have access to everything. Just 2 years and a half, and they boil along like Bajino. 2 years and a half, it looks like they're suffering from all kind of things: malnutrition, stress, depression, hunger, everything. Like they miss everything. Everything gone. Like they were not saving nothing. They were not thinking that NNP would be out of power one day. You look at them and you wonder. Yeah, just 2 years and a half, 2 years and a half, they were living high and mighty. Everything was coming their way. Everything they wanted, they get in it. But you look at them today, it's like they're suffering from malnutrition, they're suffering from hunger, they're suffering from depression, they're suffering from stress, they're suffering from everything. They have all kind of financial issues. They have all kind of problems. And I'm talking about just under 2 years and a half. 2 years and a half, You can imagine what 5 years will do to these people. You can imagine what 10 years will do to these people. And that is why they're so hungry to come back into power, That is why they're so desperate to come back into power. Because they want to live high and mighty again. They want to get big, That is what they want. They're desperate for that. Because 2 years and a half caused them to be in such a position, right? Such a place. It's sad, but that's the reality. They are really down and depressed, stressed out, and desperate. There's a high level of desperation from these people. So they want power and they're hungry for power. So they would, do anything to get it. Destabilize, undermine, sabotage, badmouth their own country, criticize, condemn, everything bad, only be negative, negative, negative. That's all they want, power. They're hungry for power. They miss it. To fly in plane, right? To go in those big cocktail parties and to eat and drink. I mean, some of them still benefiting. Some of them still finding their way there because they know how to do it. But I'm saying they miss that. Just imagine, just visualize for a moment what would happen to these people once NDC remains in power for the next 15 years. And I believe the NDC will remain in power for the next 15 years. But I'm saying to you, just think about it for a moment. What would happen? 2 years and a half, and they're like this, those NNP supporters. Just give the next 2 years and a half, and maybe a next 5 years, and the next 5 years, and the next 5 years. What will happen to these people? They're just desperate for power. All these good things happening in the country. All these good things happening here. Come on board. Join the transformation team. Come on board. You don't have to be NDC to come on board. No. But good things happening in your community. Join. Join hearts and hands. Build and not break. Let's help build this place. Let's help transform this place. Let's help make this place better. But all they want is power, power, power. That's all they want. And you listen to them. They're not telling you what they would do differently, what they would do better to help our people. They are not telling you that. No. They would condemn the government. They would criticize the government. They would say all kind of stuff. But what would you do differently? What are your plans and programs? You were there. NNP was in power for 23 years and a half. What have you done during that time to lay a solid foundation for serious takeoff? You complain about the roads, but you were there. Did you widen the roads? Did you put drains? Did you do proper asphalt paving and some of the roads? Did you put a proper maintenance system in place for the roads in the country? You tell me. Because it's just a bunch of complainers. They have a mic and they go on platforms and they just complain. NNP in power for so long. How many of their supporters were lifted out of poverty, taken out of poverty? That's the statistics that we need to know. How many people did the NNP help? How many of their supporters they help to come out of poverty? Because if you go around the country, if you see a person or a family living in extreme poverty and you dig deeper, they're supporting the NNP. Why? But the NNP being there for 20-something years, they didn't help you to come out of poverty, to take you out of poverty. No, they kept you where you were, just to take advantage of you, to get your votes. To get your votes. Folks, the whole issue of Samantha Alexis in Carriacou, I took the time to check out Samantha's Facebook page. So Samantha's son, or either son or daughter, tried an experiment to help get rid of the mosquitoes in the mangrove area where they live. And let me make it abundantly clear. The mangrove area where they're living is squatters that's there. They're squatting on government land. Squatting. They're not supposed to be building there in the first case. The government, when there, put notices up, right, saying to these people, you need to stop building there. It is not safe for you to be there. So her son or daughter tried a little experiment to kill some mosquitoes.
Mommy said daddy bad smoke in the mangrove. You should. This is bad smoke from mosquito now. So how to make it? You have to put a bunch of kyle, then some sticks, then some paper, some kyle.
Right. So this young man explaining how to make this thing and what he was doing there, and that's a son or a daughter. I don't know the gender, but it's on her Facebook page. And when I observe her Facebook page, I realized that she was sharing a lot of NNP stuff on her Facebook page. All right, I observed that. So Tevin Andrews, the MP for Carriacou and Petite Martinique, the Honorable Tevin Andrews, he visited Samantha Alexis 3 times because he wanted to help her. He wanted to help her to move from the mangrove area and build a 3-bedroom house for her. You know the Build Back Better houses? Those that look like this? All right? So he wanted to build this for her. That's the inside, and they're working on it. All right? So that's the Build Back Better houses. All right? So that's the Honorable Tevin Andrews there with the Build Back Better houses. So he's trying to, he wanted to build something like that for her. Maybe I can show you what it looks like when it's completed. I have a little video of it here, how it would look. So he wanted to build something like that for her, like he's building for a number of families in Carriacou. All right. So I think, right. So it looks like this. It looks just like this. So he wanted to build something like that for her. Right. 2-bedroom, a house with bathroom, toilet, and painted, and everything well set. But she refused. She refused that offer. But this is Samantha's house. All right. If you can see it in the background there, it's painted in green and white. Right. This is Samantha's house in the mangrove area. At the back, that's just mangrove all about the place. All right. So over the years, people dump and so on there. So you have a little patch of land here, there, and everywhere. But that's the mangrove area. So at the back there, that's the mangrove, and that's a house painted in green and white. Painted in green and white. So just saying to you, that's what it is. They have a sign in that area. There's a sign up, and that was a house before Hurricane Beryl. All right, it was a house. So that's a house there in the far end, painted in green and white. All right. The government put up this sign. That's before Hurricane Beryl. Put up this sign here. See a house in the background there, the greenhouse here? That was a house. All right? Yes. And the government put up this sign, public notice, construction activities are prohibited in this area. All right? And that's from the Ministry of Carriacou and Petit-Martinique Affairs. So they asked them not to build in that area. Do not build in that area because it's not proper for you to build in that area. It's a mangrove area. But still, they went ahead and built. And that's the atmosphere there. That's people who are living in those areas, right? Living under this in Carriacou, there in the mangrove area. All right? So that's pictures before Hurricane Beryl. That's before Hurricane Beryl. So that's the kind of houses they were shacking up or building up there. That's before Hurricane Beryl. So you could imagine after Hurricane Beryl, how things are even worse in that area. So that's the picture. That's the houses that they were building there. So Hurricane Beryl came, and the situation there is even worse. Even worse. So the Honorable Tevin Andrews visited this young lady with 8 children to assist her, to lend assistance to her. And he offered to build the 3-bedroom house with a modern bathroom and toilet facility. It will be painted, electrical work will be done, plumbing work will be done, and the land will be in her name, the building will be in her name, so she will get a start. All right? She refused. She refused. So, typical NNP, they're making an issue about the thing. And then Rena Mills, patriotic Carriacouian, a kayak, who just love Carriacou and Petit-Martinique. So she did an interview with the young lady. Boy, NNP surrogates that attacking her because that individual is saying, well, she was sent there to do this interview by the Honorable Tevin Andrews. No, that was not the case. And Rena Mills explained why and what caused her to do the interview.
Everyone, it is another Monday, and whenever Monday comes around, what do we think of? Of course, the passage of Hurricane Beryl, a hurricane that devastated Carriacou and Petit-Martinique, the sister islands of Grenada. With us today is a young lady from the Mangroves area. Her name is Samantha, and I remember sometime during the month of August receiving some videos from Samantha, and following that, she indicated that she wants to share her story, or Hurricane Beryl story. I met Samantha in town earlier on today, and Samantha was asking her, why haven't you come and documented my story, and you have documented everyone else's experience? And I thought, okay, being the anniversary of Hurricane Beryl, it's 17 weeks following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. There's no fitting time but to document Samantha's story. And we are with Samantha today, and she's going to share her experience of following the passage of Hurricane Beryl.
Right. So that there was a piece from Marina Mills, just telling you why she actually did that interview. So it had nothing to do with Tevin or any one of them. She went there to do the interview because way before Samantha was asking her to do it. So Samantha was asked about moving.
Right.
Between Leicester School to pay the bus, I think.
And then, I mean, stuff to cook. You want
Yeah, little
groceries.
stuff. Yeah.
And then, well, I heard that the government would be, well, they offer to move you all to the mangrove, to Dumfries.
Dumfries.
They'll be giving land in Dumfries. You're going? You're still thinking about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's your decision, but
I
at the end of the day, they said that.
About it.
Yeah.
Right. So here is Samantha saying she's still thinking about it. All right. So that interview there with Rena Mills, she's still thinking about it. But here it is. This is government land that they're on, and they're squatting. She doesn't own the land. So the government could remove all these people from there. The majority of these people accepted government's offer to build a house in Dumfries for them. The majority of these people. But Samantha, with 8 children, she's still thinking about it. But anyways, that was the interview. And then after, the minister visited her, and Samantha refused to take the offer. And not the minister saying that, there were 3 young men who were accompanying the minister at the time.
Yeah, so we're seeing that there is a video circulating on social media about Mrs. Alexis in the mangrove in Carriacou about the situation about home assistance. Now, I was there together with the minister, together with Ricardo, together with AJ. A group of us went there to explain to the people in the mangrove as to what the government has in plan for them, especially Mrs. Alexis, because her location is deep down inside the mangrove. In a hazard area, it's not a safe zone or anything like that. So the minister offered her a home with 3 bedrooms, running water, electricity, and 5,000 square feet of land in Dumfries. She she um she said she didn't want it. She said she'd rather stay where she is. She'd rather get some material and remain there. I remember her son, he told us that he told the minister that he want to take it, he wants it instead and stuff like that. I mean, the minister told her he can't force her to accept it or not, but the area where she is located at the moment is designated as a hazard. Is bad. The water is bad. The sewer system is a problem, and everything like that. So we was there. Mrs. Alexis was there. A couple other people in the mango was there, and we had a dialogue. And the minister did offer. Some people, majority of the people in the mangrove did take the offer, but Mrs. Alexis, refused. She said she rather stay there, and stuff like that. But I remember the minister did offer she a 3 bedroom for her and her family, running water, electricity, the land gonna be in her name, so she could always use that to, elevate she and she family.
Of course,
take
it's
out
that,
that loan and everything.
and point taken on that matter. Um, Samantha Alexis put it exact in the point. The minister aim was to make sure that the condition that Samantha Alexis in is to take her out of that terrible condition and assist her in putting her in a better living condition and style. So when the minister approached her, Samantha Alexis, when the minister approached her, he approached her with a positive intention, a genuine intention to make sure that she and I could understand exactly what is happening and what the government have in store for people that was totally affected by Hurricane Beryl. And we understand that people been living in a particular place for many years. Some people thought that living in particular places and the living condition is not the best. So the government right now is looking to assist people that living has been living in terrible condition for years. That's why the government insisted in clearing out um, how much acres of land in the Dumfries area, and they're willing to help people to move away, especially the mangrove area. Because if we do a research and we research what a mangrove is, you don't get house in a mangrove area. In any country, we don't get houses placed in a mangrove area.
And next thing again is people have to understand that the lands in the mangrove is squatting.
Yeah,
I don't think nobody own the land down there. You finally have an opportunity to own a piece of land, to have running water, proper tile system, everything. I hope Mrs. Alexis, change her mind, and the minister is always willing to sit down and discuss.
Yeah.
He's not a guy who's going to turn it back.
No way. No way.
So I do hope that this thing sorted out and everybody get to understand what is really happening. The minister did reach out to help. The minister went in person and assist and explain to them as to why is the government plans to assist the people in the mangrove. They're rebuilding and they're helping the people who live on the side of the road, because that area is not affected.
Yeah.
But the ones in the back, quite down in the back, close to the airport, it's bad, man. It's bad when the rain fall, they can't come out of the house. The mosquito situation, sandfly, it's really bad. So I do hope that they find a,
I hope that they will come to a solution in this practical situation that we're in here. And the minister wants the best for Samantha Alexis and everybody, every single citizen of Fire Company Montlick. The minister genuinely wants the best for every one of us. That's why he is making sure that he's doing this operation perfectly, to make sure that we all can benefit in the best way for all of us.
It's not about the politics. It's not about green or yellow. It's all about just uplifting people's lives. That is what the government.
Yes, and I want to thank the two young men there. And, they were there with the minister at the time. So they're actually giving an account of what happened. All right. And the way they see it, because they want good for Samantha and her children. There's another young man who was there.
With Mr. Angles during the visit at the mangrove, where Miss Samantha Alexis declined Mr. Angles' offer and was very aggressive to him.
Right. So again, another young man, giving a testimony of what transpired. And I love that. The fact that there were people there. He didn't go there alone. In fact, he went there once with the Honorable Andy Williams to see the same Samantha Alexis. So he's trying to help. It's not about NNP or NDC. He's trying to help. She's a kayak. He's trying to help her and also her children. And I love where one of the young men said she refused, but one of her sons said, well, mommy, if you don't want it, give it to me. I want it. You see? So again, look, don't believe the people in Carriacou don't know Samantha's political affiliation. And don't believe the people in Carriacou don't know why she's acting that way. All right? It is sad because those folks who are in need, they tend to behave in that manner. And those who can help them, guide them, encourage them to say, hey, take the house. It's a good move. It's a better life for you and your children. They would not guide her or help her, but instead they would push her to refuse it and to act in that way. And many times for political reasons, there's a particular political party in this country who don't like good for their supporters. Period. They just like to see their supporters poor and vulnerable and stuck for all the 20-something years. They're supporting this party and they're stuck, they're poor, dot poor, not getting any assistance to lift them out of poverty. But again, I'm happy because we have technology And this program is evidence-based. We try our best to provide you with evidence, with facts, with data, with information to guide you along the way. So you can think deeper, all right? You can have a more meaningful conversation among your family members and friends after listening to this program. That is what we try to do. And it's not that we looking down on anybody, you know, but we are stating the facts. We're telling you what it is. The majority of NNP supporters are poor. And the NNP make these people poor, in my belief, and kept them poor for all these years. But there is about 5% of that clan, as I would call them. They are rich. They're filthy rich. They don't need anything anymore. They've been there for 20-something years, and they enriched themselves. They're comfortable, them and their family. But the majority of the supporters, they are catching their royal. And again, I am saying, in 2 years and a half, and you look at some of these NNP supporters, right? And the level of desperation. They're desperate. They want to come back in power. They're desperate. But you look at their situation. Man, they used to live good. They had how many vehicles? They had how many contracts and work here and work there. They had money, they had resources. Their family was living good. But in 2 years and a half, it looks like they suffering from malnutrition. They suffering from hunger. They have a lot of stress. They depressed. They frustrated. They vehicle sold, house up for sale. Real problems, financial problems, family problems, man and woman problem, husband and wife problems, because things are not flowing as before. Things are not happening as before. Right? Just 2 years and a half. You could imagine 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. What will become of these people? They had it too easy. They had it easy. They could have just walked into a constituency office and begged for this, begged for that. They could have picked up the phone and called this one and called the one and get this and get that. All right? They had it easy for 20-something years, and they never thought that the NNP would be out one day. They were taking everything for themselves and their family. Look at the situation now. Anyways, folks, I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. I will be back with you tonight in the hub again, God's willing, starting from 8